Uh, we're back. We're back in the Batman universe after what, since 2022? Yeah, so 2 year break.
Over 2 years, yeah.
And then the Batman Part 2 won't come out till 2026.
So far.
Yeah. Honestly, what I will say, I know like it was announced like long ago, like the Penguin would be the first spinoff of the Batman. It's like, it's kind of weird focusing on the villain and all that stuff. But with I wasn't really opposed to it because it was pretty evident that Matt Reeves was going to focus heavily on Batman and his mythos. So I wasn't opposed to seeing like a villain centric point of view show set in the same universe and all that stuff. I just thought that was a pretty interesting idea to go about. Obviously with Colin Farrell back at the helm as Oswald Cobb, because he's not Oswald Cobblepot. And that caused like a big stir on Twitter to the point where Matt Reeves is not a comic book fan, I guess.
It was some weird discourse.
Yeah. And I just find it silly. Like, comic books is such a vast medium. I don't really understand the idea that, going for something grounded. And this is the whole thing where people don't really understand the difference between grounded, realistic, and like things of that nature. So I'm not really surprised that it kind of went this way. But the way that having this kind of reaction because of a name is kind of crazy. To me, at least.
I'll be honest. Like when I first heard, I was like, they really need to change his name. That seems unnecessary to me. But
Yeah,
it doesn't ruin the show at all for me. It doesn't.
yeah. Penguin is still like, his characterization is still like pretty accurate to how Penguin usually is. Obviously like in the Batman, they kind of go more in the fact that the Penguin is not the Penguin yet. In that sense, he's still like a slimy fish who's trying to get his way up, no matter who gets killed, as long as he's fine. That's all he really cares about. So
maybe he'll earn the name.
He'll earn. To be fair, they did call him the Penguin in the movie, so it's not like.
Oh yeah, maybe he'll earn the name Cobblepot.
Earn the name Cobblepot. Yeah. So yeah, Colin Farrell's back as the character. We got some new faces here. So the overall premise is like set after. It's 1 week after the first movie. The whole flooding incident after the Riddler, stuff like that. Crime is up by 42% in Gotham City. And essentially, Penguin is just trying to go for that rise of power, while everything is like kind of in disarray and all the martial law is going on and all this stuff. So this is kind of like where we're at. 1 week after the Batman, which is, I think it's fair.
Shows like how what happened at the end of the Batman, it's got long lasting consequences, like with the flooding and all, which is in character for the Riddler, by the way. It's a misconception about the Batman that I get a little pet peeved about.
Yeah. Why would you go for the rise of power when you can go for the rings of power? Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I have seen like a lot of discourse about Riddler in general. I don't really want to go too deep into that because he's not involved in the show.
That's fair.
But yeah. Yeah, so we're here set after the Batman. Penguin is just kind of like he's trying to rise up to power in the criminal empire, underworld stuff, and like but there's still like the rest of the Falcone family. You got his son. Uh, I, so I keep saying Falcone, but it's actually Falcone.
Yes, a cone.
I don't know. It's just I feel like it sounds more Italian when you say Falcone. But yeah, Falcone, the Falcone family. Yeah, so you have his son Alberto. He's basically so actually the show kind of starts off like kind of like recapping what happened in the movie. Like these are the things that happened. People died. Flooding happened because of the Riddler. There's also like been like a huge vacuum because of Carmine's death, and that puts all the pressure onto Alberto, his son, who is expected to become the next kingpin for the Falcone Empire.
Yeah, just open on the news. They say, yeah, like the next heir to the family mafia crime business. Like everyone just knows. Like that's how fucked the city is.
Yeah.
Is this also where they say that crime's up like 40-something%?
That's in the second episode.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah. You also got his sister, Sophia Falcone, played by Kristen Melody. Honestly, this is kind of a joke that me and Unity had in a previous episode. It's like, it's like I've seen her in like 4 different projects. Unity's seen her in 6 different projects, and now everybody knows about her. So sometimes it's nice to have secrets, but it is what it is. But yeah. Honestly, and then you also have like, we'll kind of get into some of the extra characters that show up as well. But yeah, but before we continue on, welcome back to another Reviews Corp podcast. This is episode 45. I'm your host, Red Devil Los Reviews, and Unity is not available today. He just needed some time off, which is completely fine. Hope you're feeling better. And so I'm here with my good friend Operation Bagel. What's up, Operation?
What's up, YouTube?
Yeah. So yeah, I found it funny that I guess like a little bit of some non-spoilers before we kind of continue with the show. They aired on Thursday, September 19th, a day after Agatha episodes 1 and 2. And then now they're not doing Thursdays anymore. It's on Sundays. I was just kind of curious, like, what was the decision on that?
I don't know. I woke up on Thursday and I was like, "Where is it?"
Yeah. That was a little strange. Like episode 2 is on a Sunday now. Now the rest of them are on Sundays. Yeah, I just didn't really. I guess they wanted to spite Agatha for a second or something. I don't know. So yeah. So a few things happen. We kind of start off with Penguin kind of overseeing Gotham. That's kind of like how it ended in the first movie too, with Penguin's like last shot in the movie. And then he goes back to his club, and he's like going through some files that were there, and he sees that Johnny Vitti, the apparently he was busy fucking. He got caught fucking one of the Falcone uncles, Luca, his wife. So he's gonna use that as like leverage.
Leverage, yeah.
Yeah. Because at this point he has like the whole mindset that he wants to get up to the top, but he needs to take down the Falcone family first. But while he's there, he gets caught by Alberto. Alberto is so
he's my favorite villain from the Flash movie.
Right. I still can't believe out of all of the characters you use Alberto Falcone in a Flash movie. Oh my god. You can't do like Captain Cold, Heat Wave,
No,
Golden Glider. No.
mm-mm.
We
See,
can't have
because
fresh.
Batman's stopping it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically Alberto Falcone is just the character who Batman is like chasing in the first like in the opening act, basically. They don't really emphasize too much on him, just that he's Alberto Falcone. That's about it. Uh
Yeah, they
but
made sure to
yeah.
get his name out there for
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Yeah, yeah. So what was I saying?
Oh, we're back to a much better Batman property.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a little interesting. So Alberto Falcone. So I did notice this before with Carmine as well. Like not many people actually knew Carmine is not like a long-standing comic character because he is actually introduced in the Long Halloween and then he dies
Yeah,
in
killed
that
off
story,
immediately.
in the same story. Um, yeah, so I think like some people just didn't really know that when watching the Batman. Like, why did Carmine like die? I think part of it might have been because of like Falcone is like in Batman Begins as well, and he doesn't die. I don't think
No.
so. I think it's just that.
Wait.
Oh,
Um.
probably
Oh no,
continue.
never mind. I got it mixed up with.
Maroni, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, there's kind of the reason why I bring that up is Alberto is he sees Penguin is there. He doesn't see that Penguin puts the file in his jacket, but Penguin is a little bit quick on his feet in terms of like making up an excuse. He finds like a bag of jewels, and he gives that to Alberto, saying like, this is yours. Your father would have wanted you to have this.
Yeah, he was like, I was here to give these to you.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, I think what's interesting about the show in general, like for both these two episodes, obviously it's 2 episodes out of 8, so we still don't know where it's fully going as of right now. But I think what Penguin really shows off is like he is pretty good at lying his way through the scenarios so that he doesn't put too much of the emphasis on himself, which is something he kind of mentions. So
Yeah, that's
I have
brought up.
access to Unity's channel. So we kind of dealt with that like a few weeks ago, but yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like, and honestly, like what I find interesting about the Penguin in general is like we have like such a. I think it's more because of like we find such a hard time with villain centric stories, like how to make a villain centric story, but the characters are likable. And honestly,
Quote unquote.
I think the Penguin is like kind of has like a lot of examples of like, yeah, a lot of these characters that we're dealing with are not like good people, but they don't treat it like that. But like obviously, you have the fact that like Oswald does get like a lot of shit because of everything that he has to go through, trying to basically dick around and get his way up by rubbing elbows with the good guys, um, making some traitorous things for other guys. But like, as long as he's alive, that's really all he cares about because he just wants to be up at the top. But like, he's not like it's not like at a point where like he's being condoned for his actions or anything like that. So I think it's like this kind of thing. I mean, then again, nowadays, like when you have more MCU stuff, you have heroes acting like villains. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah. He's very yeah. He's layered, but he's still a villain. Like, this isn't Cruella or Maleficent. That
right.
oh no, they're really good guys.
And like even like characters like Sophia Falcone, like she's honestly, we'll get to her because that's a little bit more of a conversation on a different, in both ways at least. So yeah, So felt Alberto, they kind of had like a bit of a chat. How he's planning on trying to revolutionize the drug operation and stuff like that. And then Oz, like he's trying to be encouraging to like, this is what your father would have wanted. He, like he kind of talked about his own personal experiences of being a mobster. Like, why does he want to do what he does? And like, like he like met somebody a long time ago, like a respected mobster, and he always wanted to be someone like that, which Alberto mocked him for that, and it gets him mad to the point where Penguin
Bang bang.
shoots him. Yeah.
Yep. No holiday killer here.
So no holiday killer here, which is kind of another thing. Holiday killer does also die in Dark Victory. In the second, the sequel to The Long Halloween. But he is killed by Sophia in the comics, which is not what they're doing, which is okay. It's fine. Obviously, there are some questions here, like Alberto does not have any bodyguards with him, but that does get explained later.
Yep.
So yeah, but Penguin does laugh, but but once you finish laughing, he's like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh fuck! And then the title cuts in.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because like Alberto was like saying "fuck" like maybe 3-4 times, and then it does like the cutoff. But I'm pretty sure the show is MA, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just for the humor.
Yeah. So basically he's just kind of like putting Alberto in a body bag, stuff like that. And then he's trying to take him to his car to dispose the body, but then a bunch of kids are trying to steal the rims off of his car via Jason Todd. And so Penguin starts shooting at the kids. Most of them run away, but one of them, he does not run. He's just too scared. Hands up, stuff like that. Victor Aguilar. Everybody's just the first thing people talk about. Victor. You mean Zaz? You mean Victor Freeze?
Cyborg?
Yeah, Cyborg? Oh, God. I don't. God. The Blu-ray Angel sort of comments. It's really funny. So yeah, Victor has like a bit of a stutter, to the point where like he has like Penguin puts a gun on him, but like he gets like too like he's stuttering so much to the point where Penguin just feels bad for him. Like just take it easy, bro, kind of a thing. Then after kind of like getting after that, he just like, okay, why don't you help me put this body in the back of the truck, back of the car, and then he's like, it's at a point where, all right, you just got to do what I got to say or I kill you. And yeah,
it's effective.
Yeah. So there's obviously some good like interactions between like just hearing Penguin's thoughts about things about Gotham, things about the city and such, and then like did you watch Gotham, the Fox show?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Penguin also had like a dynamic with a kid in that show as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in one of the seasons there's like a mute kid who can only write that he had he had like protective relationship with.
Yeah. And honestly, I find it interesting that like the Penguin kind of has it too. I think like one of the interesting things about Penguin in general is that obviously like this he has like a disability where his foot is like completely like dead,
Like
uh,
it's like you see he takes
mangled.
off his
Yeah.
shoe. It's like yeah, he's like it's
So
like
yeah,
a club foot. You would call it, I think.
yeah. It's
Yeah, that's why
basically like
that's why he walks like that.
yeah. So he waddles like a
He has to
penguin
put on a
in
brace.
that sense. He wears a brace as well. So yeah, it's like I find like these kinds of things interesting because like I think Penguin is like one of the characters is like yeah he's like kind of like a crime boss kind of a thing, but like he kind of has like a weird like he's kind of like good with like kids in the sense of like he can understand like what it's like to have like a disability or like to have like not being enough in that kind of sense. So like I wouldn't say having a stutter is the same thing, but like it's like at least like something he can connect with in some regard. So
Hmm.
I thought that was a pretty interesting connection. Though one of my things that I was thinking about is that maybe they changed the name because HBO doesn't have the rights to Oswald Cobblepot because Fox used Oswald Cobblepot.
Which is stupid if true.
Yeah,
I always hate that stupid rule. You can't have more than one version.
yeah. I don't understand like how the whole contract things work when it comes to names. Um, which honestly, like I've even seen people get mad at like Oz, like just Oz, not Oswald. It's like he's not Oswald. He's not
No,
Oz. It's Oswald. It's like, dude, Oz is like short for Oswald.
they call him Oswald. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they call him Oswald like more than a few times in the show as well. So
Hmm.
I'd be more mad at Cobb, but like at the same time, as I said, I'm not upset about the Cobb name either. Um, but I will say, I do think it's a little dumb to say, oh, because it just sounds more realistic to be Cobb. It's like, okay, I guess. I think that's what they're worried about is like if the name is such an issue, then like what does it mean for like other stuff in Batman mythos? But again, I'm not gonna put too much stock because Matt Reeves is not really in charge of the Penguin in that sense. Like he is like a producer and stuff like that, but like it is like Lauren LeBank's call. I think she's the one in charge. Laura LeFranc. So that's kind of like somebody else's call um, for that regard. But at the same time, it's like I don't think changing a name doesn't mean like Robin can't exist. So it is what it is.
Mhm.
So yeah. What else? What else? What else?
Well, if there's no Clayface, then we know for sure that he hates the comics.
Even though there's like a quote where Matt Reeves says that one of his like most interested characters to work for in his universe is Scarecrow, Professor Pig, Hush, and Clayface. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's a good thing to mention. Yeah, the soundtrack is composed by is it his father or is his son? Mick. I know it is Mick, but like I don't know if that's his.
I'm not too sure. Uh, Mick is the son.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that was a fun fact.
Mhm.
Oh, he's also from Jersey.
Hey,
Uh
represent.
yeah, so yeah, so they so basically Penguin has to figure out what to do with Alberto's body. So most of this episode is involving the body, like at least like the first half of it, I would say. Um so
Decent amount.
a few things that he gets done is like he goes to his escort, Eve Carlo, played by Carmen Egojo. Uh, and he's like, "All right, I need you to give me an alibi. I need to give you an alibi that I was with you all night." So she agrees to that, and then they get some burgers. Uh, I asked for extra pickles, and they give him only one.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna touch your fucking dirty pickle. It's like, yeah. Um, Yeah. So and then eventually they kind of do this like all night, and then eventually they
They're having a nice meal in the with the fire, which I thought they were burning the body at first, but no, it was just like a trash fire.
yeah, it was just a trash fire, just to eat food.
Hmm.
But like yeah, they head over to like a dump, and they put the body bag in the back of another car, and he's basically saying that's a good one. I just learned this reference. Wanted two number nines, a
Two
number
number nines, a number nine large
nine. I just learned this reference like
with
2 days
extra
ago.
dip.
Yeah. So one interesting fact before Alberto died, um, Penguin shows well, Penguin shows the ring of Salvatore Maroni, and he gives it to Alberto, saying that your father used to wear this, and he would want you to have it, essentially like that. Just as a reminder of who's the big dogs in Gotham and all that stuff. Things like that.
Wait, does
So,
Penguin gives it to him? I
or
thought
he
he
already
had it
had
first,
he
and
already
it
had
said
it.
like because he said like this is power or something, and they let him
Yeah,
try it on. Well, he wanted to have him try it on.
right. I think it was more like I think I remember. I think I misremember the detail. Um,
If I remember correctly, he already had it on when they were having the
right,
drink.
right. See what I got on your dad's ring. Nice. It
Hmm.
wasn't always his. It always used to be Salvatore's. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. The ultimate fuck you as a trophy. Um,
Hmm.
so before being done with Alberto's body, he takes the ring um, off the finger and keeps it with him. And essentially, the next thing that Oswald is thinking is,
He
look at the
says, "Hey
sun.
kid,
Look,
this
look
yeah,
at the
my sunset."
sunrise. Yeah,
He says, "You ever see mice and men?"
and like Victor's like really really scared because it's
I know what that means.
the Lenny reference from old of Mice and Men. Once I turn around to look at the sun, you're gonna shoot me in the back of the head. So he's obviously scared, and Oswald is saying, you see, it just kind of makes sense. Like if I just kill you now, uh, then I have no witnesses, somebody who can squeal on me or things like that. So
Yeah, smartest thing to do is just kill you, stuff you in the back with Stinky. Just the way it is.
yeah. So yeah, so Victor's like saying, "No, I can. I'll be loyal to you. I'll do whatever you say." Things like that. And then
And he's
Oswald is
like,
like,
I can prove myself
"I
too.
can prove myself."
Yeah.
So he thinks about it and is like, "All right," but you realize like it's not going to be easy in that kind of sense. Uh, Obviously, like living the life of a criminal is going to be kind of hard. And like he even references back to like trying to steal my rims. Like I could tell you were poor because like if you're trying to steal like somebody's rims, like that's not going to do much. Uh, you're going to need to learn. You got to learn like if you're going to do something in crime, you got to like really commit to it. He always like talks about himself like I did all this for the Falcons. I did this and like I lied and lied and lied and I got my way up to where I am now. Even if I'm not there, I'm still a I'm still one of those respectable guys. So he's obviously like playing himself up. Something that Matt Reeves would talk about his version of Penguin is that he very very much has like a inferiority complex, and which is I think is a good way to take the character.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've also seen like people talk about like, oh, he's not British, but like people don't know that he's not
It's-
supposed to be British. The whole
yeah,
Cobblepot thing
you
is
don't
meant
have
to
to
be
see the
like
Harpy.
a like faking his way up, basically. And I think that's like I think that was a choice by Arkham, like the games, like not like in terms of like Nolan North. That's just what he wanted to do. I want to make him British. All right, go ahead. You're Nolan North. So if that's what you want, go ahead, buddy. So yeah, it's all right. I just find it funny what matters and what doesn't. But yeah, so yeah, he's like, all right, I'll take you in, but you got to do what I say, things like that.
Separate line. Just once, I'll gut you like a fucking fish. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I think what was so another thing about Victor that we know about is that he was like affected by the flood in particular, like his side of town. They even talk about it in the news too. It's like the flood. It was like really bad for like the lower class people, and all that. But like everybody up top, like the rich people, they didn't get affected at all, or it didn't really bother them all that much. So obviously, you know, that disparity of Gotham and the elites versus the underling. Which I guess that kind of goes back to Riddler's plan, and people talk about, does he really care about the underclass or not? I've always thought about Riddler's like thing is like Riddler's whole thing is that he is like he's willing to like put. So I don't know if like some of this comes off of like comic knowledge, but like I feel like a lot of the takes that people do talk about with the Riddler is that, oh, he's like talking about like fuck the elites, fuck the corruption of the upper class and all that stuff. But that's the kind of stuff like where he's saying it as a terrorist, so he's obviously trying to appeal to somebody. So I feel like that would be a way to go about it. But then like when you actually have Batman talk to Riddler, so obviously like this is like Riddler without the mask, without anything. So now you can actually hear his like real thoughts, and like he is mad at Gotham for like his example basically is like prioritizing the rich orphan and not someone like me. So obviously that's like a problem with Gotham. So that's like, and plus like, you know, Riddler is like a complete narcissist. So that's just kind of like his thing.
Yeah, it was about himself, not for like the poor people being like screwed over by the elites. No, he hated the whole city. It was the rich for creating the faculties in the first place, and the common people for allowing it to happen. For one of the reasons that he said, because everyone focused just on Bruce Wayne. That's why he hated him.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of always been my thoughts about the Riddler. I just thought, like, it makes sense. Like, I feel like if we're taking so much on, I feel like you have to consider the fact that like he's presenting himself to a bunch of people, so he's broadcasting himself, and obviously there are people who, you know, the incels, I guess, is now what the Riddler cells.
His little like 4chan army.
The 4chan army. So it's like obviously he is appealing to somebody in that point of view, but at the same time, he's like, this will get people to at least talk about me. I mean, nobody cared who I was until I put the mask on.
Sure.
I guess is a way to look at it, but yeah, I thought it made sense.
You might even say it's about his how he's going to make a name for himself right here.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So that's kind of like my take on like the whole Riddler stuff. But you know that I find it interesting now is like now we have like a character like Victor who. Obviously, he hasn't got to do much yet, but like, you know, just like as a character that's like at least being a driver for Penguin and all that, and then like also, it also goes without saying that the reason the Riddler threw a fit at the end of the Batman is because Batman hit the gritty in front of him. Yeah, of course.
It's a missed hidden detail.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like with the like having somebody who has at least like been affected by the flood, it at least like gives like some idea of the common person, like the common folk who has been affected by Riddler's plan and stuff like that. Obviously, they haven't got to do too much with that because it's focusing more on the Falcones, the Maronis, Penguin himself. But like there's still like 8 episodes, so like I'm not gonna like say that they've like tried introducing those concepts. I'm just saying like I'm interested in where this is going in terms of Victor's character. Fun fact: Renzi, he played Alex Wilder, the leader of Marvel Runaways in that TV show. So yeah, this is another comic role for him. So yeah. Yeah, so he's not gonna gut Victor like a fucking fish. Not now, at least. So yeah, they set to watch the sunrise, and then they go back to his apartment. Tells him to clean up, and this is where we see Penguin's busted up foot at this point. Yeah. Honestly, like I really got to commend because I know this. I know I keep talking about production stuff, and it's a little annoying. I apologize, but I just find production stuff kind of interesting. I do find like there are people talking about, oh, you could have just gotten an actor who's like as big as as fat as Penguin, or like has like this disability like how Penguin does, and it's like it's kind of like the Brendan Fraser thing again. Like, oh, you could just get like a 400-pound actor to play that role. It's
I think that's an iffy subject. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Colin Farrell. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, he does an amazing job.
Yeah. And plus, I would imagine like having like that kind of foot would be really difficult. For some of the action stuff, quote unquote, that Penguin has to do, it would be pretty difficult
for someone who like actually had that on.
Yeah. Because you have to keep it in control of some regard. And like Penguin, it seems like he's had this issue for a while. So like he kind of knows how to, like, even like when he's like going after somebody, like somebody's like pacing, like when Sophia's like mad at him and is like walking fast, like, hey, are you running a marathon? So, but he's like, he clearly knows how, like at least how to pick up his pace. So he's definitely had some practice at the very least. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that was an interesting conversation. So this is kind of like around the time where Oswald kind of like learns about the so he's basically assuming that the Falcones are like they're going to take control of his drug ring that he has. So he is called up. He's called up to the Falcone estate. And all that, and he has the conversation with Milos, and I think Milos is the. Is it okay? It's not. It's a bodyguard, okay. And Johnny Vitti. Johnny Vitti's played by that guy from House of Cards, I think. He was that. I think he was Lombard for Man of Steel. The one with the baseball tickets who Jenny Olsen said no.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's having this conversation. They're talking about shutting his organization down. Oswald is obviously not happy, but what he does come up with a plan is like, oh, Alberto was talking about like this whole drug ring and like how we're gonna have to move the shipments and stuff like that. It's coming in on Friday, so we can't just say no to that. Like all this it's got to be for money, because like they're talking about moving it to Robbinsville or something, so another city. He feels like that's going to be like a really poor decision plan on their finances and stuff like that. But then you got like them saying, oh, but the feds are going to get an eye on us, and like we can't risk losing our operation. But it just gets to a point where at least Penguin is like able to give somewhat of a stance until Alberto's sister Sophia walks in, who is recently released from Arkham Asylum.
I can fix her.
Yeah. Yeah. Kristen was talking about she's been trying to be a Batman villain for a long, long time. In terms of like trying to get cast, whether it be for the movies, whether it be for Gotham, I think is what she mentioned. Yeah, so she's tried for a while, and yeah, it was all worth it. Now,
No,
obviously, she doesn't.
well deserved.
Yeah. Now, while she doesn't look like
Yeah,
Sophie
even though she's not a huge brick shithouse, you know.
Gigante is her other nickname, but because she's a giant in the comics, but they still kept the fact that she's referred to as the Hangman.
Hangman.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, at the very least, she still has like that cold, calculating, like you can't predict what she's thinking kind of demeanor, and I think that definitely is like enough in terms of like that. But yeah, in terms of like, I mean, I did mention this to Unity as well. It's like I will just say like she doesn't look like the character, but I know she'll do a fantastic job. So it
So
won't
first
really
she has.
matter overall. But yeah.
Like the well, I guess we get to it. Never mind.
Yeah. So they have so Sophia is kind of interested in Penguin being there and all that. As to the point where she asked him to go to dinner. After taking a look at things like his car, it's not purple, it's a plum car. And they have dinner, and they kind of talk a bit about Carmine and things of that nature, like how Penguin has worked for the family for a long time and stuff like that. But then yeah, but then she kind of like gets to a point where he kind of slips up in the sense that like, I know that Alberto went to your club, and he specifically said not to bring bodyguards and all that stuff, and then he just disappeared. And Penguin is trying to save face, but like I haven't seen him. I mean, I'll let you know if I ever do.
I like the subtle way she does it, like because first like at the mansion, like, when she asks him, and then Penguin doesn't give a straight answer, and he's like I'll just go. But then when she sees him outside, she's like, you never mentioned. Did you see him? Like it's subtle, but like you can tell that she is thinking something.
Yeah. So it gets to a point in the conversation where they just practically have they practically just have Sophia's like, she can, like, Penguin has realized that Sophia is not like really taking so much of what he's saying seriously. So this is where he has like that thing where it's like, I need to go find my mom and we need to skip town. So he goes all the way out, brings Victor.
One question I did have: where was Victor during their dinner? Because I don't think they don't know about him.
No.
Because if they did, something in the second episode would kind of screw everything.
So I think so. I've seen some people talk about it. Like, they never really had a good look at Victor's face, I would say, until episode 2. In episode 1, the whole thing is like, now obviously like they cut to the next scene, so it's kind of hard to assume like how did Penguin get to the dinner place with Sophia.
Someone else could
just assume that
it's not
another car. Yeah.
Yeah, someone else could take another car. It's not like a huge issue. This is a question.
Yeah.
It's easily explained.
Yeah, and then
another thing I'd like to mention, when the dinner's almost over, and she says, "I knew you were capable of more," to Oswald, and then that split second, like when her smile drops, the music's sting. Oh, it's chills. It's so good.
Isn't it like she also whispers in his ear? So
Oh, yeah, it
that's a
should
lot.
be.
Yeah. So yeah.
So just wanted to praise her performance for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So Penguin goes to his mother's house. Uh, he used to have two other brothers. They're both dead. So it's just really him taking care of his mother. Um, so she basically he's basically talking about he's trying to avoid the subject as to what happened and things of that nature, and then she can see that he's lying about what it is that he intends to do in terms of skipping town. Uh, he's like, I killed Alberto. Why? Because he was making fun of me. And it's like, uh,
Like, it was
did I?
stupid. Is that what you want to hear?
You're a little pussy boy.
Oh yeah, she's like,
Yeah. So she's encouraging the like he'll finally get what he deserves to be like to take over Gotham essentially.
yeah, the mom's a gangster.
Yeah. So yeah, the mom is completely on board. Basically convinces Penguin enough to like let's you already started like bringing the Falcons down. Why don't you just keep going? Uh,
Yeah, she's like, don't run. You're almost at the top.
yeah. So that conversation does like resparks like a new thing, and this is where we get uh so I was like Oz and like Victor, they kind of talk here and there, so I'm gonna kind of like say things that are important for the conversation. uh but I think that one happens after this one, where what Penguin decides to do is let's meet the rival of the Falcons, Salvatore Maroni, in Blackgate Prison, played by Mr. Krabs.
Hmm.
Clancy Brown plays Maroni. Excellent man. Uh, very scary as well. And Penguin is basically offering to bring the drug operation back into Maroni's control. Maroni really is not. He doesn't want to hear it because, like, I know your reputation. You are like somebody who slips through the cracks when things go bad, switch sides all the time, slippery snake kind of a thing. So why would I trust you in that kind of sense? Penguin's like, obviously you need some time to think about it. Before he exits, he's got one
He,
ace up his sleeve.
he
It's like,
does a little Columbo. So one more thing before I go.
yeah, and then he pulls the ring out of his pocket, puts it on the table. It's like, I thought you would like to have this back. Um, it's like, where'd you get this? It's like, oh, I got it from Falcone. The family would just wear it, mock the Maroni family all this time while you're up here. Um, so
He's like, how do you have it? And he goes, well, maybe I'm more than what you think.
yeah, honestly, like it's I really like what's going on with Penguin in terms of like he is not like somebody like you shouldn't like underestimate him in that sense. Like even though he is slippery and all that stuff, he could do whatever it takes to lie his way up to get to what he wants, and he's pretty good at it. So I think that's like what makes it so interesting of a character to watch in general. At least so far. Of course, we're only talking about 2 episodes right now. Um, but yeah, I really think they're doing like a really good job so far.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like the IGN comments.
Oh,
I think we should probably save IGN comments for after we talk about the first 2 episodes. So I'm gonna do that. So yeah, so Maroni is a little bit more like he's thinking about it at the very least now that he has his ring back and stuff. Um, so I think this is around the time where as Penguin is like going back towards his escort Eve's apartment, he sees that Sophia and her crew is like over there, obviously looking to ask where was Penguin.
Um, does he have the conversation with Victor before, where it's like, "I need you to do," like, we don't know what it is yet, but he's telling me he needs to do something? Is that before this?
I think it was after, because so the thing was like, because like when like I know like when Sophia spots him, like they go after the. IGN really gave the Penguin one score above the Lord of the Rings Gollum game. Yeah, nobody takes him seriously anymore. I think it's like what happened is like because like while he's in the car chase, he's trying to call Victor for help, but like Victor's not picking up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think it had to have happened before, right? Because there wasn't really a chance. I don't think giving anything away. I don't think there's a chance after when he sees Sophia at the place and the chase happens for him to get in touch with Victor before the other thing.
Yeah, I'd have to. Yeah, because like it says like he was like I think it's like the ring happened and then they try to go. Yeah, I don't think because like I think the first thing that happened was like he was calling Victor because of the car chase.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then nobody's home. Shit, and then yeah, the car chase happens. Penguin. So another car chase with Penguin. So
it's a lot of those.
yeah, so it gets to a point where I thought this was pretty funny, like where he gets like caught up in like a disaster recovery thing, so he has nowhere to go, and because of his leg, he can't really run like that. So he opens the door, ends up in the trunk of his car, while like the other guys they start filtering into the thing. So then he comes out of it. So I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
smart.
that was was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so then he goes back in his car, but then one person was like left behind. So he did see Penguin is back in his car. So he takes a key. He takes his key and like jabs it into the guy's neck. Like
They fight to pop music playing on this car radio.
yeah. And then he pretty much like kicks the guy back to the point where eventually he gets run over by his school bus.
Yeah, he gets Regina Georged.
Which to be fair, he did pull out his gun, so even if the bus wasn't there, he would still at the very least be able to do something. And I guess like one person could probably mention is like, oh, why didn't the guy shoot Penguin? Well, to be fair, they need information out of him.
They weren't going to kill him.
Yeah. And then, but there is one other guy who, like, because like Penguin is like trying to wave at the kids because like the kids are looking at him with the after they've ran over a person. So he's trying to be nice, but then another guy hits him across the face and that knocks him out. And yeah, then he wakes up. He's found pretty much naked on a chair. So yeah, 2 episode 1s from Agatha, and Penguin has the protagonist be naked, I guess. So interesting correlation. So yeah, so he is like obviously super scared because he's getting tortured and all that. Fair enough. And so Sophia, calling the shots, pretty much brings in another boy who was there when Alberto's body went missing. Now, this is kind of a thing that we don't really know how it is that she found out about this particular thing. Because, like, it's one of Victor's friends who was trying to steal from Penguin's rims.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not 100% sure how it is that they found him in the first place. But, like, obviously he was, like, beaten and tortured and stuff like that. The kid was saying, like, oh, it was the Penguin. He was the one, like something like that. So Penguin is like using that against him.
Yeah,
Is like
enough for them to know that.
you're gonna trust a teen's word
Yeah.
over mine.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, so you're saying he's lying? He's lying, right?
Yes, yes, fucking yes.
Yes. And then she's getting the okay, okay, and
Okay, bang, shoots him
shoots
dead.
him in the head. And then that's what Cat, like, kind of like a fucking disgrace. Like you don't care like who it is that's gonna die as long as it's not you.
You're so good at talking your way out of things, she says.
Yeah. And
Tell
then
that guy to prove a point. She's damn, yeah, she's hardcore.
yeah, and then like they basically take a wire and like try and pulls it over his arm. Obviously,
Oh,
causing pain.
yeah.
He's like, I need you to tell me what happened to Alberto. But as this is happening, a car rams its way through into the Falcone estate, causing a loud horn to go off, and not sure what's going on. They have to go and see. Sophia is out there taking a look and sees that the car is empty, which is a throwback to the Batman. Same thing happened, sort
Oh
of,
yeah, yeah, the funeral.
at the funeral. Yeah. So yeah, but the trunk is open, and she takes a look, and it's Alberto. And a few things she notices: there is scratch marks saying "payback," and his ring finger is cut off. So all of these little details makes her, and like she gives like a blood curdling scream as well when she sees the body, and like that the Maronis took revenge and killed Alberto. So yeah. And then we learn later, after some slush puppies, that Victor was the one who made this decision to stage the Maroni crew, which is fucking genius.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
and yeah, the original plan, like Penn was saying, that he was supposed to cut his body up.
Right.
It was like a bit of like morbid humor. He's like, I thought, as I was going for his throat, he's like, do I cut that off? Do I go from the back? He's like, all right, I get it.
I get it. Yeah. And yeah, and honestly, like, yeah, and it gets all the pressure onto the Maronis over Penguin at the very least, because I mean, there's at least people loyal to the Maroni crew, so you can't really indict like who is the one that actually did it, like at least killed Alberto or something like that. So it at least keeps them off of their trail. So then Oswald is saying, like, you saw where the Falcones live. Don't you want to like it? Like we can't like live that kind of life, but we can get our way up there if we work together and essentially take them down. That kind of thing. Where these guys, they never knew what it's like to be hungry. They're always full. Things of that nature. It's classic status conversations and stuff like that. So that's essentially how episode 1, After Hours, ends, with them drinking the flavors mixed up slush puppies.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Phenomenal start.
yeah. Oh, and they did confirm, to be fair, that the Gotham is set in New Jersey. I appreciate that.
Yep. It always has been.
It always has been. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. And yeah, that was After Hours. And then we had to wait for like 10 days to get the next episode. So yeah. Anything else you want to say about episode 1 before we get to the next one?
Nothing much more I can think of. Just yeah, it was really good, a really strong start.
I'm also glad that I was glad that we're back in the Batman universe after 2 years.
Oh yeah.
So there's that.
I don't want to say surprised. I don't know. I was like optimistic about it. I was like, I have faith. The Batman was good. I think this will be good, and then it was, and I was happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And honestly, like even after we go through episode 2 as well, it's like I'm pretty glad that like at least Matt Reeves has talked about like I am still interested in doing like more spin-off ideas. Because I feel like with Gotham is like such a good universe. Like Batman and his mythos is just like a universe where like you can make a whole universe and not include the rest of the DC universe, and it's fine. I don't know why that's like a hot take. Like Batman has plenty of villains, plenty of supporting characters, plenty of like even his whole like Bat family. If you were able to go into that, like there's plenty of characters you can focus on with Batman that has nothing to do with the rest of the DC universe, and you can easily do something like that.
They had a
So
whole movie that did that a lot of people like. And I don't know. Reports about the second one are a little. I'll see for myself. But the first Joker movie is very successful, very popular among people.
yeah, I think we're planning on talking about that next week.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So episode 2, Inside Man, starts off with Maroni not really being happy about the fact that like Oswald framed him for the death of Alberto, but Oz is basically saying like we have a chance to like really take out the Falcones if we just stick to this kind of plan. He tells him about like there's like a drop shipment that's going to be happening by the Falcons. So if you guys can like intercept and like kill some of the crew members, that would be much appreciated. Things like that. What else? Well,
Yes,
actually,
right
the start of the episode is the PTSD. Hangman.
Oh right, yeah. Sophie in
She's in
therapy.
She's in Ark. Well, yeah. It starts off with her in Arkham.
Oh yeah, her like nightmare. Yeah,
Walking through. She sees like her brother on the other side of the window, and then sees that he's getting shot through the back. So obviously, this is a dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like I like how they connected the alarm system of Arkham, and then like connected back to the therapy session with the red line above the therapist's head. The therapist is played by Theo Rossi, the
He's Shades in Luke Cage.
Shades and Luke race swap. Luke Shades, but yeah. But yeah, it was just funny to see him. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously she's having PTSD of everything that's going on. I still don't really know if a therapist is allowed to hold on to the patient to get
Yeah,
them
that's
to.
why I'm not. Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure. I don't know if this was like officially licensed or just something like the family set up.
Yeah, that was like kind of like my only thing. In terms of like, I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Well, yes, no.
But it seems to be like a personal therapist of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, there were some interesting screen caps when.
Yeah. 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 So she calms down, but she doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to talk about anything. You're not in Arkham anymore. You're safe. And she doesn't want to talk about what she saw.
I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it goes to the
Maroni in the prison.
Maroni in the prison. Didn't know I was walking in a party. I would have brought you something, you cocky motherfucker. Hearing Clancy Brown curse is really funny. In a different way, though. Yeah, so
he said the 7 bad words. I mean 11. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
How many bad words was it? I don't remember.
13.
13. That's what it was. That's all. 13.
I thought there was only 7. Not
if
if
you're a sailor.
Yeah. So he's not really happy about what's going on, but Penguin is at least he has like at least a way to calm Maroney down. Give him the credit. You get to have the credit for taking out one of the Falcons. I'll let you know about the the shipment date so that you guys can attack essentially. And it's kind of easy to take them out because they're kind of distracted by the whole death. They're also bringing a new Don, Carmine's brother Luca, and he's a fucking pussy. So, but I got his ear, that kind of thing. Which his biggest thing is like he has the leverage on Vidi, because it's Luca's wife. So he kind of has like the evidence as to what he could do to get Luca to at least be on his side of some sort. Now he hasn't been able to come through on that, so we'll have to wait and see on how these things go. But yeah, Alberto, he's like basically saying, not Alberto,
Alberto? Maroney?
Maroni. We're just gonna make good on the drops. So they're gonna go to Robbinsville, no highways, all neighborhoods. So yeah, basically they're doing the shipments. Penguin is like saying like I'm gonna be in the back car.
Don't touch the back car. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Vidi's like, no, you're the one in charge, so you got to be in the front. So yeah, Penguin is not really happy about that. So
So there's
Don, but there's only one Don or two if you get his son John Walker. Yeah. So what was it? So I think the guy was doing like a joke, like, you know why it's called a seagull, but like,
you're afraid for the bay, it'd be a bagel.
get it, like bread. And then Penguin does like a better joke because what's the difference between the mafia and the government? One of them is
One of them's
organized.
organized.
And then everybody starts laughing. It's like, see, Ray, you just got to know your audience. And then this is like where he gets up and stands and walks to the back because he knows what's about to happen.
He sees them coming.
Yeah. So Maroney's like people they start shooting.
And they start shooting at the back car too.
Yeah.
So they were gonna kill him.
Was that the back car or the car in front of the truck? I thought it was the car in front of the truck.
Oh, was it? Oh, was it? I thought it was the back car. They were shooting it too.
I think it was the car in the front of the truck. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I don't remember for sure. But yeah, Penguin is also whoa. Yeah. So Penguin does continue to shoot at the other men so that nobody squeals on him. That sense. I think they eventually gets to the point where he's in the clear. But due to all of this, they go back to the house, and Penguin is like using this as like a thing. Is like, I blame Vidi for like fucking this up because of hold on. Also, I kind of appreciate this song, "You Fall for My Foolish Alibis."
Yeah, good choice.
It's a good choice of song. But yeah, yeah, and then it's like yeah, and then like it was if Penguin didn't save Castillo, they would have all died. I think Castillo is Sophia's bodyguard. We'll get back to him in a second, but like, yeah, he basically saves him, um, and yeah, and then Oz and like Vidi are like arguing. What the fuck was I supposed to do? They ambushed us because they think we're weak, and I tried to tell you, we look weak because you let them fuck us. Hey, it was your route. We were sitting ducks out there. Yeah, so basically putting most of the blame onto Vidi, because he clearly doesn't like him. He didn't do shit, like he didn't do anything to protect the drops and stuff like that. And then the Maronis, they walked away with the whole stash. And then then Sophia kind of breaks up the conversation. It's not all you care about. The product, the money we lost. We can get more money, but you're missing the point. They humiliated our family. They took her brother, shoved his body in the trunk of a car like it was a piece of trash. So this is kind of like where, let's say, stance in terms of like what he believes. Like he, because like she's saying, why aren't the killers like strung up across the city? The Maronis will pay, right? The Maronis, okay. She thinks like, yeah, okay, it's fine that Maroni is fine, but you really don't think that we're working alone? Like how could they possibly know about the route? How would they know about the FEMA trucks? She has like the whole theory that like somebody inside is the mole, somebody in the family. And then Vidi is like, how dare you? And then Luca's like, Johnny, you don't call the shots either, and you're talking to my niece, so show her some fucking respect. So yeah. Then like everybody leaves the room, but Luca and Sophia, they stay behind. He knows that Sophia has like a nose for bullshit. Carmine knew that as well. And if there is a rat, we're gonna find him. But that stuff is not up to her in terms of like when they could figure that out. It's like that's his call because he's the boss. Which he said, I'm gonna let that one slide because you're grieving, and the funeral's tomorrow. Just focus on putting him to rest, and then he'll deal with the family business. So that's kind of like a little scene there. Then Sophia heads out, and Oswald, he pretty much runs after her. So he's kind of like trying to encourage that he's on her side. And then he's also mentioning stuff like, I saved your boy Castillo's life tonight, even after what he did to me. And he's basically trying to, butter her up in that sense. Like, yeah, I believe you about the inside man. I could look around, do some digging, whatever you need. And then she's asking, why would you do that? And then he's saying, because you're supposed to be the one calling the shots, not these guys, not Carmine's little brother. And he's basically saying like, I cared about Alberto too, more than like these other guys. But she is like not really like she feels like really buying it, because like she can feel like he is like just trying to find the next person to hide behind, like that kind of thing. So he's kind of accepting, like he said this before with like Victor as well in the first episode, like, people who talk trash, and actually he says it later to Victor after the scene, like doesn't believe him about like somebody else being the mole or something like that. I always have to take like people making fun of me, or like people have saying like bad stuff about me, and like I have to sit and accept it until I get what I want, that kind of stuff. So, and it's like very, very convenient that you're all of a sudden on my side, my little helper, fucking desperate. So scrambling whatever dignity you have left, hoping that I will save you. which Penguin is like, no, you're right. You don't owe me. I owe you. So, he's able to, again, this kind of goes back to like what we're talking about before. Penguin is like at least good enough to take the blows, but like he can still say the right thing to at least push a button or to get something to think about, like a lasting impression kind of a thing. So, very good scenes.
Mm-hmm. And I just went back and I checked. Yeah, it was the front car. My mistake. I don't like that was the back that they shot at.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because otherwise, like Penguin would have been back there.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, maybe they wanted to kill him anyway, but no, I was wrong.
Yeah, and then basically, so then it cuts to like Oz and Victor with each other. And then he's like kind of like complaining about everything that's been going on. Like, I was Falcone's like right hand. You'd think that would mean something. A couple of thank yous wouldn't hurt, but no. You've done enough, Oz. You think I've done enough? They don't see what I can do. They don't have the balls to do what I did. Things like that. And then, obviously complaining about Sophia. She's not going to be happy until somebody's head is on a platter. Which Victor's like, so what's the plan on that? We can't kill her. So she wants an inside man, so he's going to find a way to give her one. Otherwise, there's like, there's no shot at getting like the shipment. So yeah, they're back at their apartment. Victor messed up the taco order. Got a lot of cilantro. Fucked up. And then
start picking.
It's crazy. So then we hear like some radio announcements in the background. So we're in the car with like Sophia Falcone. This is where they talk about, since the seawall collapse, crime has spiked up 42%. There's a lot of rolling power outages to the city, and the system are broken. And the guy like doubts that the new mayor has the guts to fix it. Now they're letting out psychos out of Arkham, the Hangman. But Sophia's like wants to leave it on, so hear what everybody's got to say. Sophia is a serial killer. She killed 7 women. That's all that they know about. Couldn't fix her. Yeah. So I think there's a few things mentioned. So like there's a lot of like characterization moments here with like Penguin. I think one that I liked was in the first episode was like when they were listening to that song, like the old timey song, which the point of the song was like to talk about like how even if you're talking about something that doesn't matter, you're going to end up being one of the best, which is something that Penguin like relates to. And then here he kind of talks about his interaction with somebody named Pinchy. He wanted him to be his driver, but Penguin didn't know how to drive. So what he did is like he would he stole a car and then he would just drive around like a maniac until but like even though he didn't do perfect, but he still learned that way. So that's kind of like the lesson. Even if you're not like good at something, you can still like practice and then like be somewhat competent enough to do what you got to do. Things that like helps like Victor kind of understand for things that are moving forward. But then also mentions that Pinchy got caught talking to the feds, so Carmine killed him. But this is like kind of like his way of explaining like this is how Carmine saw him for the first time and like realized there was something good about keeping someone like Penguin around. And then the rest is history. So, I think it's like a small way of connecting, even though he did something that he didn't really like. He was working for Pinchy. Pinchy was like the bigger guy. He was just a driver, but then Carmine kills Pinchy, and then like he takes the driver in. So it's obviously paralleling back to Victor, who is now uh, like the driver for Penguin. So I just thought that was like a interesting way to connect the two characters.
Yeah, it's a good parallel.
Yeah, and then all of Eve's stripper friends are here. And they're basically having a little bit of a party.
Also, I guess tries to hook Victor up with one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. We also forgot to mention that they actually had somebody like a Riddler enthusiast, like saying scan the barcode, and like
Right, yeah, when they're on the
apparently you can scan the barcode and it takes you right back to the Radalada website, and then you can see some more like news related to the universe. Which honestly, I like that they still continue to use that. I thought that's like really cool. And then they even had like the Gotham Gazette up as well, so you can like see what is the news going on in the universe of the Batman. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's really neat what the little things they do.
Yeah. I think this is where it cuts to a detective at the bar. He's like a former detective. He's like easily corrupt for money and stuff like that. Sophia looks at him because he's pretty good at like finding who is like the rats, the snakes out there. So she basically tasks him to find out. Somebody hijacked the Falcone transport heading towards Robbinsville. She wants to know like from him like how they came across that information. So then he's like, "Oh, why are you asking me to do that? Why can't you get somebody in your family to do that?" Oh, because he wanted it to be an inside job. So, but then she pays for his discretion. So he's like, "Yeah, I'll see what I can do." So that's how that scene ends, and then it goes back to the party. Even though tonight went sideways, no easy way to say it. The Maronis came at us, but we held our own. We spilled our goddamn blood on the streets, right? So let's save our anger. We can keep it right here because the Maronis started something that they don't know what. So obviously, like these characters are like more neutral. They're not supposed to be. They're not on either side. Yeah, and then this is where he hooks Vic up with Rox, the entrepreneur who's a cam girl. Mostly does fetish stuff. So yeah, doesn't really go well because of his stutter. But yeah, there is like one point where he sees a call and like he isn't able to pick up because of the not a call, like a text message from somebody named Liz City or something. That hasn't been like
someone's asking where it is. Yeah, I don't remember the name.
Yeah, but, like we don't know anything about that right now, so we'll have to wait and see. Oswald goes back into his room. Eve eventually goes in. She asks about like it's like dealing with a lot of stuff. So she pieced together that he's the one who killed Alberto. That's why he wanted my alibi, which is like a big risk for her friends and herself. So she's obviously not feeling good, Mr. Krabs. And yeah. Look, I got a file on Johnny Vitti. Once Lucas sees that Vitti the prick is like, so basically like once he sees that Vitti can get blamed for like a lot of the other stuff, and then it'll all be his fault, and then that'll break the Falcone family even more. So nobody's untouchable, neither is he. But even then, he's trying to keep his confidence up. Open another club. It'll be swankier than the Iceberg Lounge for your entertainment. And then I'll give the pics to Luca at the funeral tomorrow, and then it'll be all good. And then, playing a dangerous game. I don't want Sofia Falcone to knock on my door. We already have like a big target.
I do.
But he says like, I know what I'm doing. I've dealt with worse, and I've always came out better than before. And he can handle Sofia Falcone. That was a setup for another joke. Yeah. So they have sex, and then it cuts to black. What happens next? So, then it's a bit of a tangent. It cuts to going back to Mama Penguin's house. Apparently, like the landlord there is saying like she went to church even though it was not Sunday.
Yeah, she has like dementia episodes.
Dementia episodes getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that he needs to get like a hired help to take care of her. But Penguin really doesn't want to do that, so he pays.
So he just pays him to,
yeah. Honestly,
and he speaks to him in Spanish. It's nice. That's how we know Spanish in the Batman.
Yeah, Batman doesn't know Spanish though. What a funny criticism. Yeah. So. Yeah. So it's nice, and I do get like why he wouldn't want to hire some help, because like then the help could be somebody you can't trust, and then like might leak information, because he obviously doesn't want his mother to be known by the other criminals of Gotham.
Yeah, it's made clear later.
Yeah. So the funeral, I think this is like, so yeah, after that, I mean, Penguin and his mom, they dance to a song. She's basically saying like she doesn't want to be cooped up in the house anymore. But like he's saying like, I'm trying to work with it, like try to deal with it. If my son is
for every Batman villain project that had dancing with their mothers, I'd have 2 nickels.
Nice. Yeah. But then like the hard hitting line was like, if my son is a nothing, then what am I?
What am I?
He can't reply to that, but then Victor reminds him that the funeral is going to start now. So mom tells her to go. I won't let you down. And then cuts to the funeral. He gets to the funeral, and there's a bunch of screaming and protesting outside. Hang the hangman, send her back. Falcones are fascists. Things like that. And he gets a look at Luca, and he's trying to, hey, Luca, I want to give you something you want to see.
But then he gets like hurried in the car.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Which honestly, I don't know if that's like the best way to do this. Luckily, it didn't happen, but like it would be kind of weird if you just like, oh, okay, I'll take this file in the middle of the street. So that was a little weird of an offer, but it didn't happen at the very least, so I'm fine with that.
I assume he would like it was just because he saw him leaving, so it's like it's now or never, I guess. Like if he had gotten there
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
he would have tried to do it more
Because
discreet.
like the big problem with like Luca is like he's always going to be surrounded by his other guys, and like that's not going to work. Like you kind of need him isolated, especially if with sensitive information like that. But yeah. Um, so yeah, cuts inside. Sophia's just listening to the crowd, uh, telling her to go back to Arkham. So they have a conversation. It's a real nice service. I didn't see you in there. I didn't know you were looking. All I was thinking about how much Al would have hated the service. Yeah, he would have left early, find a better party. Then this is where he talks about like his brothers didn't have a service, the mom. Then he basically makes up a story. It could be real, to be fair. Weeks mom didn't really do anything. Then she got up and then one day she was like not doing anything, and then all of a sudden she said, "Yeah, let's go out now." And then she's like happy, dancing, things like that. That's how they would celebrate. And then
And then he says she died a few years back.
And he said, "Yeah, she died a few years back. I
So
never
he
asked."
doesn't want them to know she's alive.
Yeah, and Sophia's like, "What? Why do you think like she changed her mind about going back to work again?" But then it's like, "Yeah, I would have liked to know, but she died a few years back, so I never got a chance to ask." But then his point with the story is like, shit like this, the pain of it, you got to be careful because it'll eat you alive if you let it. It's a hell of a lot more fun to dance. So this is kind of like that lasting impression before Costello comes in saying that he's getting a call saying that the detective has got something. So yeah, so it turns out the detective was able to find Ervad at the hospital. So he took.
Oh wait, did we? We established right that she hired the
Yeah, we talked about that.
detective. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
She gave him drops. Right.
so Ervad was the one who said the shitty joke, I think.
I thought he was. I thought he was the
was
last guy who came in the
the
truck,
last guy.
and then
Yeah,
Penguin
right.
shot him.
Yeah, it was not him. The truck driver. Yeah, but he was one of the Maronis who lifted your drops. He'll answer once the morphine wears off. Can't really do anything. She's like, this is not appropriate because it's my brother's memorial. You said you wanted answers. I brought you answers in the flesh. So it's like, all right, just take the body to the basement. Once he wakes up, just find me. So then Penguin is called over by Nadia, Maroney's wife. Basically saying that you had the inside track with Luca, but now the Falcones snatched one of our men out of the hospital, and you didn't say a fucking word. We just weren't warned. And so Luca's the one who did this. It's like, no, Luca didn't do this. He would look both ways when he ties his shoes. So it's got to be like Sophia Falcone acting on her own. She's come out of Arkham. She's a little crazy. A Falcone is a Falcone. So they're thinking about killing Penguin. So this is where he's before they do the blow. He's like, check my jacket pocket.
My jacket pocket.
And then pulls out a file. It's Johnny Vitti fucking Luca Falcone's wife. They've been doing it for years. Here's the proof. And I got all kinds of dirt, lots of it. And you can just squeeze them one at a time. But like he needs to, like basically he wants to get rid of Johnny Vitti first because like he's like not like the underling, but like he is like somebody that the Falcones are supposed to trust. And if he's bad or if he's corrupt, then like what's that to say about everybody else? So it's like that kind
I
of thing.
guess I guess you could say it's lucky he still had the photos. But yeah, I think with all the other scenes of him like showing how he was able to talk his way out of things, even if he
Yeah,
didn't, I think he still would have like found a way.
yeah, and I think like even the Batman kind of has stuff like that. Like even when Batman goes to Penguin for like, what do you know about this criminal or something like that, and he kind of has
Hmm.
like the down low of everybody, the dirt
Yeah.
on
So
others. So
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
Eh,
I just like to cover that base.
yeah, because I also think too is like Penguin. He's always wanted to be the head criminal, like the the kingpin essentially. So the only way to really do that is see how can you take out each cornerstone of the empire, and once you could do that, then you can. It makes it a little bit easier for you to get up there at the top until he gets caught, of course.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's also very good at lying. So
Yeah,
he's
very lying. He knows Butch dirt anyway, so yeah, I'm sure even if he didn't have the photos, he could have gotten himself out of that.
yeah, it is something like it starts off with him having the photos, like that's what he's looking for when he once he's at the Iceberg Lounge. That's like the first thing he picks up is and then puts it in his jacket.
Hmm.
Um, Now that Carmine is dead, we gotta go to the next step. Who's next to take out that kind of thing? Um, yeah. So then he's like, so the wife Nadia, she's saying like, we just want our man back, and he says, yeah, I want him back too. Just give me his name and I'll find him. Ervad, the guy you met at Blackgate. You have to hurry because if the Falcons get him to talk, he's going to say a lot about you. So they leave him alone. Obviously, he's kind of like annoyed that this is where it's going. But that's just
And then she gets back to smoking her 30 daily cigarettes. I would assume.
nice. Yeah. So then it cuts to the ballroom. Everybody's just whispering about how Sophia's crazy, unhinged, fucking crazy.
We see how she eats again, like a mad woman.
Yeah, but like she can hear like everybody talking, so like she's obviously just playing
Playing up.
into that. And then like she has a conversation with her cousin all about like, oh, we should really go back to have a girls trip back in Italy.
Yeah.
And then her
Looks like it's going nice. Yeah, but then she brings a kid.
brings a kid,
And it's
and
very clear she's scared of the kid talking to her.
the cousin is also very scared of Sophia
Yeah.
and her reputation. And she's talking the pin back in the hair. Very uncomfortable. But yeah, that's kind of like how that scene goes. And then meanwhile, outside, Victor is essentially talking about not Victor. Penguin is telling Victor we have to plan evidence on VD. So look for the red Mercedes, and then put the jewels, the Alberto Falcone's jewels, so that it could give like the motivation that Vidi was the one who killed Alberto for the jewels. But Victor was there, but he was unable to. So these things are happening at the same time, by the way. So I'm trying to go one at a time. Actually, okay. So first, what happens is like
I think first, like he Penguin's walking around and he sees like someone guarding the door, and then he goes to um
he sees
the
Costello's guarding the door. Then
yeah,
he
and he
goes
goes
back
to
upstairs and he walks towards Milos and Luca,
that's his
saying
name, Milos and
not
Luca,
not
yeah,
not Luca. He goes to Milos and Vidi, saying like,
Vidi.
yeah, and it's like, you guys are gonna like
Wait, you don't
torture
trust
somebody
me?
here.
Yeah, you got down in the
Like,
basement.
what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, that's completely stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you allow it to happen? And then he walks away. Clearly like planting a seed. Like, wait, somebody's being interrogated in the funeral
Yeah.
home.
It's,
So that causes them to go down. Goes to Costello, draws Costello out of the way so that he can, so
that he
Penguin can
gets
go
the room.
down into the room. So yeah, and then Penguin is talking to Ervad, saying like he's going to get him out of here, things of that nature.
And then at the same time is when Victor's trying to plant the jewels in the car.
Yeah, but because he was caught by somebody else, they're like,
yeah. So Victor had to like just run, and he wasn't
said
able
the
to.
wrong.
It wasn't able to put him in.
Yeah, then he calls Penguin saying that he was unable to get the jewels into the car because he was caught. He's like trying to, but because of his stuttering, he has having a hard time saying, like, what do I do? What should I do? So because of this fuck up from Victor, he tells Ervad that like now the plan has changed because he's saying like to say that whoever hired you was like Vidi. He was saying like Johnny Vidi, say the name, and like Ervad is able to say the name, and Ervad is like, yeah, I'll say that it was Vidi who hired me, but because he didn't get the jewels in the car on time, he has to kill Ervad.
He's got to improvise something else.
Yeah, so he takes his pocket knife, stabs Ervad, and then he gets out of there. Eventually, they get back to they eventually get back to
the Falcons.
The Falcone squad. They find the body,
and
they find that it's dead. That Ervad is dead, and now Luca is like a bit of a panic because like, yeah, there is absolutely a mole now for sure, and we're not getting out of here until we know who it is. So they call all the men they lock down the building, call all the men into the room, and they're searching everybody for who is the one that killed. And because like he was killed by a knife, so we have to find who had a knife. So Penguin still has the knife on him. Vidi ends up next to him. It's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And then first thing Penguin's like, it's oh, your fucking fault. All of this like bullshit about the drops, things like that.
Yeah, he's like instigating him, like it was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he's like really playing that up. He pushes him against the wall. It's like that classic. Gonna put the knife on Vidi.
Yeah, that's what you think it's gonna be.
That's what you think it's gonna be. Vidi gets searched right after, and Vidi's clean. They search Costello, and
he's got the knife.
He's got the knife.
Oh yeah. It's so smart because that'd be, it's like that'd be a little suspicious. He fought with the guy, then he has the knife on him, but no, it's the other guy, the bodyguard. Oh,
honestly, even the Costello's like genius too, because like Sophia's like bodyguard, so that puts even more delusions into her head about what's going on. If he's a traitor and all that. What else? And then also like, well, that kind of like,
another thing because as she says, he was going to the club that night.
Wait, who's going to the club?
No, so Sophia says to Costello, like you were going to the club that night, because like it gets another layer of why planting the knife on him works as well.
Right, and we can't forget about the lines. Watch your fucking mouth, you gimp. Fuck your mother, you dirty rat. Fuck you. Fuck your mother. He keeps saying motherfucker. It's really funny. Yeah, but then Sophia is like telling Costello, give me your gun. Give me your gun. It's like, I didn't do it. He's like, I didn't do it. I swear. I swear I didn't do it. I've never been nothing but loyal for you. Then there's a gunshot. Somebody else shoots. It was Luca. And then Sophia gets mad at Luca, like You should have left it for me. It's done. He was mine to kill for Alberto, but I made the call. And then it gets to a point where Luca's like, I think it's time for you to leave Gotham. We just got to do what's best for you, for your safety. Italy's great. You used to spend time in Lake Como. And then she's like, thinks about it. It's like, you know what, you're right. I could use some time away. It'll be good for you. And, they're done. Yeah. And then that's kind of how that scene ends. Clearly, like, there's something thinking. Because, like, I know, like, there was, like, some, they kept showing the clock ticking, which is kind of like something's going on in her head. That's, like, film technique. We'll get to what she's thinking later. But yeah, now that it's dark outside, we're almost at the end of the episode. Johnny Vitti gave the orders to clean up, put the bodies in the grave. It was supposed to be Johnny Vitti's body in the grave, not these two, Costello and Hervad. And then he's like really mad at Victor. He tells Victor, lay down where you belong. And, he's really, really scared. So he tells him to lie on the bodies. He's like, don't close your eyes. No, fuck up. Like, close your eyes. You see them? Look at them. Remember this. This is what happens when you choke. You understand? Dead's a one-way street, Vic. You know how close I was to getting popped tonight? Because you fucked up? And then I got to plant the blade and the jewels. A lot of work for me, Vic. A lot of work. And then, he's obviously sorry. Apologize.
And this is where it's revealed. Yeah, they also planted the jewels with Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a little bit of tough love from Penguin.
Yeah, if you want to survive, you have to adapt, respond to the environment, to the situation, think on your feet. You got to be quick. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. Whatever Carmine threw at me, I delivered on every goddamn time. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then takes Victor out of the grave, tells him there's no playbook for this kind of stuff. You gotta learn how to think off your feet. Otherwise, which honestly is it's a little crazy because the episode 1 is it's crazy how he came up with that plan about the car and the cut off the finger, and then it just all lines up perfectly to frame the Maronis just perfectly and not get caught at all. So then it's then you got something like this, which is obviously, to be fair, this is a little bit more risky. Because he's actually in the parking lot. He has to actually put the jewels into somebody else's car at somebody's funeral who anybody could walk out and find him. Whereas in episode 1, it was a little bit easier to do that because Penguin's life is in danger, but they don't know about Victor at the point. So it's if he just gets the car, drives it up, and then uses the Batman technique where he makes the car self-driving with a cinder block. That's kind of all you really need to do, and just get out of the way. And all the attention goes on the car and the body. Doesn't matter who was the driver at this point of the story. So I can understand 1 being a little bit easier for him to do because he didn't have that much pressure compared to this one. There was a lot of pressure in this scenario.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, and this is why this initial plan, it didn't work out.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that
too many variables,
and these are the kind of things is this is why Penguin is an expert, because even with this fuck up, he was at least able to save face by thinking of a new way to blame somebody else and get them to die. Which Costello is a big one especially for Sophia's side, knowing that if he was a traitor and all that and getting him killed, somebody that she trusted. So it's pretty big, even if it's not what he wanted. But yeah, It just shows how good he is at this particular stuff. And he gets a phone call, and that brings in Sophia. She's
getting a late night call from Sophia. Should have been me.
Yeah, she's looking at the graves of her brother and father and mother. I think it parallels the shot with Catwoman looking at the grave of her father as well, like from the end of that movie. Yes, so those half sisters haven't met yet. Just trying to wait for that. But yeah, Penguin is there. She tells him like, brother, I trusted that man who was working for them. Why? For some diamonds. They found the diamonds in Costello's apartment. And then like that's like what Alberto went to get the night he died as an investment in our future for the new drug. Which everybody's talking about the new drug. Is it the fear toxin? Who knows?
Oh,
I'm curious. Hey, maybe this time they confirm it's venom. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah. But so Sophia's like kind of at a breaking point. We were gonna run like they wanted like Alberto and Sophia to like run the family together, but then they took him away from her, and then she just refuses to let old fucking men push her aside again, like she's nothing. So what she's gonna do is I'm gonna take that from them, force them on their knees. It's gonna be fun. And she has that evil laugh, which everybody is like using that screenshot for I can fix her. So what do you say, Oz?
She can force me on my knee.
The Kermit hook. So she basically tells Oz like all this, like for the implication that like, so join me, so let's dance. So yeah. So now it's like Sophia versus the Falcones versus the Maronis, and Penguin is in the center of all of it. And that's how episode 2 ends.
And once again, just amazing.
Yeah. My biggest like thing is like I really like how good Penguin is to thinking off his feet to the point where like if it's not his original plan, he has like a way to spin it so that it's like end bomb.
Your audio's cutting out a bit.
Yeah, my internet is like going in and out.
Well, I heard most of it. Yeah, you're saying about how good he is at thinking off his feet and improvising.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. There we go. Yeah. So he's pretty good at thinking off his feet. I think like I feel like everybody's doing like a really good job in the show in terms of acting, in terms of performance. And like I like how they were able to find ways to connect Penguin to other characters, like even if they're not like they don't act the same or like they're not exactly the same, like but he's able to connect with them to like personalize himself to them, that they can trust him to the very least of like having some sort of connection with each other. I think that's like really good. Yeah, I'm just really impressed with what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I really hope it keeps up. Okay.
Yeah. It is only 2 episodes right now, so it's only like a fourth of the season is done. It's 25%.
Mm-hmm. That's a damn good 25% so far.
Yeah. Obviously you got all those memes like the Batman is just, what is Batman doing while all this is happening? 42% of crime.
Yeah, it's dealing with the 40% increase. Mm-hmm.
There's only one guy. He doesn't have a Robin yet, so
Penguin does.
You got to do what you got to do. He's got it. There's things like he could either be fighting crime on other parts of Gotham. He could be, using his money to help fund for the fixing of the seawall. He could be banging Catwoman. You know, there's a lot of priorities
Yes.
with Batman. So
A lot of important business to take care of.
a lot of important business. Yeah. So yeah, that's you know, I think it's okay. I don't really mind the concept of like, oh, we didn't want to put Batman because like he's take the attention away. I mean, they did say that the Penguin is going to take place, and then part 2 is set 1 week after the Penguin. So it's like, so each of these projects is set 1 week.
Interesting.
Which is kind of like, honestly, like one of my downsides on that is like I do wish like there was a little bit of a gap in terms of a timeline, just so like Batman could like, you know, train and get better, because it's kind of hard to do that when you have 2 weeks after the first film in that sense. Or either like, you know, get new tech or get new equipment or like anything like that. Though
maybe there's a gap here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to say for right now. I know like the episode 3 teaser, there's snow. So yeah, we're getting snow in Gotham again, finally.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm really curious where it goes. I really hope that for this universe, I just hope they at least do Robin, Batgirl, at least one of them.
His name will be John Blake.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoy what's going on so far. Anything else? We can riff for another 4 minutes. Yeah. Get it to 2 hours.
We should talk about the IGN review, I guess.
Yeah, let's talk about the IGN review.
The quote-unquote review.
Let me just pull it up. Mm-hmm. They give it a 5 out of 10.
Same score they gave Madam Web.
Same score as Madam Web. The limited series worships at the altars of The Godfather, Goodfellas, Scarface, The Sopranos, and Breaking Bad. But Sophia's family are no Corleones. Oz is no Tony. And in these 8 episodes, they're not given the time or space to get anywhere close to those crime drama landmarks. I don't like reviews like this because, like,
what a nothing review.
It's like I don't like reviews like this because if all you're doing is like comparing it to other crime related shows, and these characters are not like the other characters I've seen in other crime shows.
No, really, he's not Tony Soprano. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and honestly, like what I like about Penguin is like because the thing is Tony Soprano is the top G in The Sopranos. So it's like he is the guy that everybody like looks to, and like he's the leader. Penguin is clearly not the leader. I mean, that's kind of the point of the show. So I like the fact that he's down in the totem pole, but he wants to get up there. He wants to get to the top, and he's got to weasel his way through. I know it's only been 2 episodes, and apparently they've seen all 8 episodes, so I'd have to wait and see on what that is describing. But like out of the gate, like I don't know how these two can be anywhere comparable if Penguin is not the top G like Tony Soprano was in The Sopranos. So it doesn't make any sense to say that, oh, these two are not comparable. Yeah, they're not supposed to be. And then the Falcones are not the Corleones. I mean, I guess.
It just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and honestly,
why does that make it 5 out of 10?
Yeah, it's just really.
Is it trying to say they're not as compelling as them?
Even then, it's like,
because where's your proof of that?
There are no Corleones. He's no Tony. It's like, okay, good, I guess. Yeah, and, let me say Madam Web's one in comparison, because I think at least Madam Web has like a bit of like a explanation. Like Madam Web tries to connect many plots and people together to a confusing yet ultimately bland result. It falls as a one-off. It fails as a one-off and as a franchise starter, not telling a fulfilling origin story for Cassie, nor giving compelling arguments for the future Spider Women. Like, it's like obviously it's like for a non-spoiler review, like that's at least like something.
At least those are actual criticisms.
Yeah. This character is not like this character that I know. Yeah, that's okay. And no, Madam Web is not a 5 out of 10 either. But like at least that's like at least that comment is like an actual that's how you do a non-spoiler review that makes sense, but it makes sense to what you're saying about the story. So yeah. And then like, I mean, I guess like the Penguin one does have a bit of like they have all these ideas and they don't satisfy at the end or anything, or they're not like satisfying like these other crime shows. But like that's kind of the flaw of like if the whole point is to compare it to other crime shows, then like I don't know if that's like a good thing, a bad thing. Like, some people say it's good to be different from other stuff. Why do you want things to be the same? Things like that. So it's like I don't know. It's a weird way to bar yourself in terms of like reviewing the content in that point of view. But yeah, so that was the Penguin episodes 1 and 2, After Hours and Inside Man. Obviously these episodes will come out other Sundays and stuff like that. I don't know Unity's takes on the season right now. He was pretty positive with episode 1. I didn't get a chance to talk to him about episode 2 yet. I haven't watched Agatha episode 3 and 4 yet, so has episode 4 come out yesterday or?
The episode 4 is out.
Okay, that was episode 4. Yeah. So eventually we'll get back to reviewing those. I think we're going to talk about Joker Folie à Deux first next week. So we'll see how that goes. There's been a lot of conversations about it. Some of the conversations that I don't think some of them make sense, but then there's some like fair, I guess. But I feel like there's been a little bit of a weird point of view when it comes to some comic book adaptations versus other comic book adaptations, and how Joker is like put in a different lens from the same people talking. So I do want to give that as a bit of a hint of my point of view before I talk about it next week. But yeah, so Operation, it was really good having you back.
Good to be back and discussing. I think this is the first time we've been on where we're talking about something good.
Yes. Well, technically Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, for about Dragon Ball. Yeah.
You wanna tell your excitement for Sparking Zero?
Oh, I'm so excited! Oh my god. Pre-ordered, getting it 3 days early. So after October 8th, you won't see me for a year.
Yeah. Is it? It's not on PlayStation 4, right?
No,
probably not. Yeah.
It's on PS5, Xbox One X, and PC.
Like the newer consoles, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to get a PS5. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah. It still has very little games for its own, even after 4 years of it being out.
Yeah, I wonder we got to figure out how to share screen. So like if we want to do like game like something I wanted to try is like putting gameplay on while we talk for our podcast, at least at the very least. I think that'd be like interesting visuals while we're talking. Something I need to figure out. I don't think it's that difficult. I just haven't personally figured it out yet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Same. I just never put in the effort to see how to do it. Really.
Yeah, and yeah. So subscribe to Unity Review and Analysis. This is where we keep the podcast, as well as another Reviews Corp podcast, our archive channel. You'll be able to see these episodes back over there. Subscribe to that channel for more of that content. Subscribe to Red Devilos Review. I am currently working on a really big project for the 25th anniversary of SpongeBob. Now that I publicly said that, I really need to make sure I finish on time. So that's putting more pressure on myself. So yeah, I'm really excited to get that out. I know I've had some asking about like my thoughts about obviously the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I got to finish that series as well. I'm hoping to finish that before February when the movie drops for Cap 4 that nobody's excited for. And
I'm sure there's one person out there.
Yeah. And then also really want to continue my Percy Jackson series as well. So yeah, there's all these ideas up in the tank. I think we're probably going to talk about the SpongeBob movie in November. That's when the movie has its 20th anniversary, the 2004 one. So
The best one.
We'll see how that goes in terms of our schedules. But yeah, a lot of things to be excited about. And subscribe to all of our channels for more of that content. And we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.